You're watching CNN News 18 Global. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. Now, Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa, sheltering hundreds of Palestinians and babies, has now turned into a war zone. This as Israeli troops reached its gates in an attempt to seize Gaza's heart. In a new shocking claim, Israel believes that Hamas is running an underground command base right below the Al-Shifa hospital. IDF has now alleged that Hamas is effectively using Al-Shifa's patients and staff as human shields. However, both Hamas and doctors have denied the presence of Hamas tunnels and bunkers below this hospital. As Israel escalates its bombing, Hamas has said that IDF is using propaganda to justify its attack on health facilities. On the other hand, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu's new military move has turned into a new diplomatic and political risk. Why so? Various world leaders, including the White House, have now come forward warning the Israeli Prime Minister to not target civilians caught in this crossfire. In fact, several images have been splashed all across the internet which show the plight of newly born babies, that too through cesarean, because their mothers are all dead. As both Israel and Hamas share competing claims, doctors at Al-Shifa have warned how the last remaining hope of Gazans on the besieged land has turned into a cemetery. I bring you reactions from the IDF and the UNRWA. Let's listen in to what both sides of the spectrum in this war have to say.
This is Rantisi Hospital. And this is the place where I showed you the tunnel. I want you to see. Look at what Hamas is holding inside the hospital. I want you to understand, this kind of gear is a gear for a major fight. People shooting RPGs from hospitals. This is Hamas firing RPGs for hospitals. The world has to understand who is Israel fighting against. They were all used in the massacre of the 7th of October. They even have bullets in this motorcycle.
Sadly, the health system in Gaza is collapsing, and we are following very, very closely the developments around hospitals, especially Al-Shifa Hospital. Al-Shifa is an iconic hospital in Gaza. It is always the hospital that continues to function across the wars. Yesterday, the Director General of the World Health Organization declared that for the last 3 days, Al-Shifa has not received water and electricity and has stopped operating. And that is extremely, extremely dramatic.
So while IDF has been very quick in sort of condemning Hamas, and it says that what it is doing right now is to destroy Hamas and not Palestine, but what will this mean for Palestinians and Gazans who continue to perish by the day? Let me try and get in a sense of perspective. And for that, let me introduce my guest today. I'm joined in by Faisal Saleh, who's the founder of Palestine Museum US. Many thanks to you, Faisal, for joining in. Now, Gaza's health system has collapsed, multiplying the war's toll on children, whether it's the scarcity of medicines or the trauma that's being borne by them because of this war. What are the pressing concerns for the children of Gaza?
Well, obviously, the children of Gaza are going to be traumatized for the rest of their lives. You know, there's 1 million children in Gaza at least, and all of them are going to be scarred for life. I mean, the children that they saw their parents die in front of them and pulled out of the rubble, totally disfigured, and the impact of what is going on now is far-reaching, and it's going to be there for years and decades to come. And people are not going to forget that. The Palestinians will never forget what Israel is doing now. So that's all going to be, inscribed in the psyche and in the mental history of the people in Gaza now. And the children are going to grow up knowing what Israel has done to them and to their parents.
Faisal, at the same time, international human rights organizations are very quick in saying that it is time to investigate Israel for its war crimes. At the same time, IDF and Israel have been very vehemently claiming that Hamas has been using these hospitals as command centers and they are operating through these tunnels beneath these hospitals. Should Israel's actions still be termed as unlawful?
First of all, Israel claims are unsubstantiated. There have been all kinds of claims that has Israel made that turn out to be false. Only an independent investigation carried out by an international team that can be relied on. But so far, what Israel is saying, I don't put any creed in it. And they've said a lot of things that they were false. So Israel is making a claim because they want to destroy the hospitals and they want to kill everybody that's in them. Some of the Israelis are saying they do want to kill all the Palestinian children because they see them as a threat in the future. And this thing is very shameful. And what Israel is doing is nothing short of a genocide here. It's crimes against humanity, the killing of that many people and targeting civilians with deadly weapons that it received from the United States is definitely a war crime. It's definitely a genocide. And anybody that's helping Israel is liable and complicit in that and subject to future prosecution by international law.
Faisal Saleh, I also want to know from you the role being played by Hamas. Remember, the IDF has also released a 6-minute video wherein they showcase a tunnel with bulletproof door. Israel has claimed that this bulletproof door is the opening to a Hamas-operated tunnel that is also opening in Gaza's Al-Rantisi Children's Hospital on the other side, which is in fact a very crucial hospital for children. How do you weigh in on the evidence that is being provided by Israel and Hamas operating and using children and women as human shields, especially these hospitals?
Look, I'm not an expert and I'm not in Gaza, so I can't answer that. That question is not a fair question to ask me. I don't know anything about what's underneath a hospital in Gaza, and I don't trust any of Israel's claims. Their claims are false and they're intended to justify killing people. So Israel wants to bomb the hospitals, and the United States is telling them stay out of the hospitals. But they are coming up. They're contriving all kinds of evidence to show that they have a reason to bomb the hospitals. And the hospitals are full of people. They're full of people that had no place to go. There are hundreds and thousands of people in some of the hospitals, in addition to the people who are injured, and in addition to the children's and incubators and all that. And Israel has denied food access, they've denied water access, and they've denied electricity for fuel for generators. And they're basically aiming at starving and killing everybody in Gaza. I mean, listen to some of their ministers, their right-wing crazy ministers, saying that they're going to kill everybody in Gaza.
Faisal Saleh, but the burning question still remains. Who is the real culprit, Israel or Hamas? Hamas, that first attacked Israel, is now using women and children as human shields, building tunnels beneath these hospitals to operate from these hospitals. Who's the real culprit?
Hamas is a resistance movement. Their job and their mission is to defend Gaza against the Israeli aggression. And that's what they're doing. They are defending Gaza. They're the only people among the nations of the Middle East that are able to stand to Israel and defend Gaza against the Israeli aggression. Israel is the aggressor. Israel has put Gaza under siege for 16 years. Israel is killing people in the West Bank on a daily basis. And those are Palestinians. And Hamas is the only force that's standing up against Israel. And what Israel does is just as terroristic as what you claim Hamas is doing. Look what Israel is doing in the West Bank. Look how they treat people, how they beat them up in the streets, how they take them to prison, how they kill them. They execute people in the street just like that.
All right. Faisal Saleh, my last question to you. How can the international community come to the rescue of Gaza and Gazans? We know that the Brazilian president has opened doors to those refugees from Palestine, as has Turkey, UAE, even Russia. So what can the international community do?
They can come to rescue the Gazan by getting Israel to stop bombing them. The Palestinians don't want to go to those countries. The Palestinians want to stay in Gaza. Gaza is their homeland, and they're not going to give it up to Israel. Israel wants to take Gaza so they can expand their settlements there. So the international community need to put pressure on Israel to force Israel to stop the bombing of Gaza and stop the bombing of civilians and children. It's very simple. Israel cannot continue its rampage in Gaza in its terrorist acts of bombing children. There's no difference between killing somebody with a knife and killing them with a 2,000-pound bomb that you drop from 20,000 feet in the sky. And that's what Israel has been doing. They've been dropping bombs indiscriminately, killing people in residences. They're taking residential towers, entire high-rise buildings that are residential, that there's nothing in them. There's no Hamas in them. There's no Hamas under them. How do they justify taking all these residential towers and destroying them and killing 11,000 people?
All right, Faisal Saleh, many thanks to you for joining in on this discussion and sharing your precious insights.